So today I just want to talk with you briefly about Paul and his formal training. Now, I don't know if any of you know that Paul was formally trained. It's our equivalency of seminary. And yet he was not rejected because he went through seminary. Now, there are some men out there who are so anti-institution that they want to reject a Christian leader because he's gone through seminary. Whereas most of the churches, they require you to go to seminary in order to be a leader. Some of them don't, but they encourage you to at some point go to seminary. And then you're given, more responsibility and leadership. Mike Rutkowski is one of them who criticized me right out of the gate when I reached out to him because we shared some common teachings from the gospel of Jesus. I'm not advocating going to Mike Rutkowski and listening to him at all. To the contrary. And I have no animosity to the guy. But when his response to me was the most hostile response you can imagine, out of the gate. I reached out, bridge building, and he responded like this. Then when I did end up making a video about his teaching, he reacted with a video. Okay, but he did me the dishonor of not doing a whole video on me, but doing a video where he mentions me extensively at the beginning, and then in passing he mentions a bunch of kids who don't know what they're doing. And so he really did a disservice. It was on purpose. It was clear. So one of the things that he criticizes me for is going to seminary in this video. That, if you had known God, you wouldn't have gone to seminary. If you were seeking knowledge from God, you wouldn't have sought it from men. Well, he doesn't know why I went to seminary. He doesn't know why I went. So anyway, the point is this, is that before Paul had become a Christian, he had studied under Gamaliel. And we find that in the Bible. It's in chapter 22 of Acts. And you'll see, he says, men, brethren, and fathers, hear ye my defense, which I make now unto you. And when they heard that he spake in the Hebrew tongue to them, they kept the more silence. And he saith, I am verily a man, which am a Jew, born in Tarsus, a city in Cilicia, yet brought up in this city at the feet of Gamaliel, and taught according to the perfect manner of the law of the fathers, and was zealous toward God, as ye all are this day. Okay? And he says, and I persecuted this way, the Christians, unto death, binding and delivering into prisons both men and women. And also the high priest doth bear me witness, and all the estate of the elders, from whom also I received letters unto the brethren, and went to Damascus to bring them which there bound unto Jerusalem for to be punished. Okay, so then he talks about his conversion and Jesus and the light blinding him. Now, this is the man, he sat under Gamaliel. And you say, well, who's Gamaliel? Well, some of you may have heard the name before. So you may go, well, I kind of recognize the name. Well, you can go to Wikipedia and find it, right? And it says that he was a leading authority in the Sanhedrin in the early 1st century AD. Now, it goes into lots of discussion about him that's not relevant for a Christian. A lot of it is about the Jews, how they regard Gamaliel, he's, since Gamaliel died, desire for the perfection of following the law died, and all of this. So that's none of our business. All of what the Jews think about Gamaliel, and how he fits into their material, it's not our business. Okay? But the fact is that Paul had this formal education. Now, it was before he became a Christian. But nevertheless, they did not reject him because he had the formal education. And a lot of his knowledge about the scriptures, which at that time was only the Old Testament, all of his knowledge about it came from his formal education. All of it. Absolutely all of it. Because he didn't know God before then. He didn't know God. But when he became a Christian, he came to know Christ. And so his knowledge, they could have easily argued, well, his knowledge is formal, it's from men. So, they didn't do that. They didn't do that. So they judged him based on his teaching, based on his character, based on his relationship with Christ, and that alone, without respect of whether he had formal training or not. Now, of course, when someone comes and he's teaching and he's got formal training, you've got to be careful. You've got to watch for signs that he's simply pushing doctrine of the men who started the Reformation. If he's doing that, you've got to turn the channel. No matter how good everything else is, if he's doing that, you've got to turn the channel. Because he's preaching heresies. You've got to turn the channel. Now, you know about that. You can go to the website, The Rooted Word, and you can find in the menu, TRW pages, just click that, or just point at it. And if you click it, it'll take you to a page with a list of things, but if you just point at it, it'll give you sub-menus. And in that, you'll find 12 foolish doctrines. Now, it might be more by the time you see this video. At least at the time of the making of this video, we have 12. Now, I am aware of a few more that we'll need to add, but we're going to do that as we're ready to write about it. We've only got 2 of them with extensive details written about it. One is complete, and that's about the lordship of sinful nature. And so you definitely want to start with that. That is the core heresy that is from the Protestant Reformation, and you got to start with that. You have to overcome this heresy in yourself, in your own understandings that you've picked up through the apostate churches. So I hope you understand that we've got the example of Paul, who had formal education from men, and yet we didn't reject him because of that. So we can't reject men because of their formal education, because frankly, all of you have formal education of some sort. Should we reject everyone? You say, well, we didn't go to seminary. No, you went to secular school that's formed and taught by people who are unbelievers. That's even worse. Well, maybe worse. It's disputable, but nevertheless, it's terrible, because you've got all these ideas in your head about reality, about life, about thinking, about God even, that are from unbelievers. And many of those people in those school systems are anti-Christian. They hate Christians, they hate God, they hate Christ, and they actively not just teach against him, but they work against him. And that's the system that you got your formal training in. So should we reject you? Doesn't matter if it's high school, junior high school, elementary school, or even college and university. Doesn't matter which level. It's all education system from unbelievers. And the whole system is designed against Christianity. So should we reject you? I mean, just because you have that background, that education in your background? No, of course not. Of course not. So I hope I've given you some clarity on this issue. May the Lord bless you as you seek him with all your heart.